For more on this, we're being joined by Pradeep Taneja. He's a senior lecturer in Asian Studies at the University of Melbourne. Pradeep, thank you very much for your time. Firstly, opinion polls are showing a strong favor of Modi securing a third term, and he's aiming for that ambitious 400 seats. What are the odds of him hitting that mark?
Well, normally, when you've been in power for 10 years, there would be an anti-incumbency factor, and you will find it, a bit more challenging to try and win a third term. But I think this time, Prime Minister Modi and the BJP feel pretty confident that they are going to win this election. And not only going to win this election, they actually claim that they're going to get 370 seats for the BJP and 400 for the coalition. So clearly they have much greater ambition than they did last time. And they're confident because India's economy is doing well. India is amongst the fastest growing major economies in the world. And on the back of economic growth, a very positive perception of India internationally, they feel that they are in a good position to win.
Is that confidence warranted, though? I just want to quickly go back to the 2019 election when of the 303 seats that the BJP and its allies managed to win, only 29 out of a possible 102 came from 5 southern states. How confident are you that he or Modi will be making inroads in the South? Because he's spending a lot of time there, certainly.
It's a good question. But there is clearly a north-south divide in terms of BJP's popularity. BJP is much popular in North India and Western India, but not so popular in Southern India. And in fact, the state of Tamil Nadu, which goes to the polls today, the BJP has been struggling to make headway in that state. And Tamil Nadu politics is dominated by the regional parties, particularly the DMK and the AIDMK, and they have dominated Tamil Nadu politics since the 1960s. And it's going to be very challenging for the BJP to make much headway in Tamil Nadu, in Kerala, even in other southern states such as, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. In Karnataka, they have a slightly better position in the south. But overall, BJP doesn't do as well in the south as it does in the north and the west. And they're counting on states like Uttar Pradesh in the north, which is the most populous state of India. And Uttar Pradesh sends 80 MPs to the parliament, 80 out of 543. And they're pretty confident that they're going to do very well in North India.
Pradeep, I just want to ask you about the south in particular. States like Tamil Nadu, what makes them so different? Apart from the fact that, Tamil Nadu, that is, accounts for like 30% of India's GDP. Is there a difference? I read one comment that, when Modi speaks in the north, he uses religion, whereas people in the south tend to ask for verification. Is that really true?
Well, South does have a very different politics to the north. And religion, promotion of Hindi works very well in North India, but it doesn't work so well in South India, particularly in Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu has a long tradition of Dravidian politics. They talk about the Dravidian model of economic development. The Dravidian model of economic development focuses on basic health, basic education since the 1960s. They have established a much better record in providing primary health, basic education, in fact, even higher education. So on all socioeconomic indicators, states like Tamil Nadu in the south do much better than North India. And what works well in terms of, small government handouts or welfare benefits in the north, in the poorer states, they don't carry the same value for the voters in South India. Plus religion, although South Indians are also predominantly Hindu, but the appeal to religious ideology, the temple, for example, in Ayodhya, that Prime Minister Modi inaugurated recently, that doesn't carry as much weight in the South as it does in the North. So South Indian politics are different. South Indian states on a per capita basis are more developed. They have a higher level of infrastructure, higher level of life expectancy, the basic education and health. And therefore, their expectations are much more focused on a much more harmonious and comprehensive development than a one-sided development that in some states works better for political parties like the BJP.
Pradeep, if I could just dwell on this Hindu nationalism. It was once a fringe ideology in India and now mainstream, largely thanks to Mr. Modi's government, his policies. But with these policies and rhetoric from the BJP advocating for that Hindu-centric vision of India, do minorities, especially the Muslims, have a reason to worry?
Clearly, minority leaders from the Muslim community, including some members of parliament from opposition parties, they have been saying that minorities have been feeling less secure in India since Prime Minister Modi's government came to power in 2014. And there are clearly some concerns, serious concerns among the leaders of the minority communities. And in some areas, clearly there is concern. For example, in housing, we are seeing much more sort of polarization. Muslim community people tend to concentrate in areas where there is a larger Muslim population, not necessarily because they choose to live there, but because many landlords, for example, in more middle class, upper middle class localities, colonies as they're called in India, prefer to rent their properties to Hindus and other religious groups compared to the Muslims. So clearly there are areas in which there is concern. But Prime Minister Modi's government claims that they have not discriminated against Muslims or any other religious groups or ethnic group based on religion in terms of distribution of welfare. So Prime Minister Modi has said that when it comes to government welfare, government benefits, they are distributed equally and regardless of any religion or faith. So there are claims from the government that there's no discrimination, but at the same time, there are claims from the minorities who feel that they are being discriminated against. And certainly if you look at Prime Minister Modi's party, Prime Minister Modi's party is unashamedly Hindu in many ways. When you look at the number of Muslim candidates that BJP has fielded, BJP is running election in most of the seats in the country, but there is only one Muslim candidate for the BJP, and that too from a district which has a very high proportion of Muslim population.
Okay.
So I think that kind of gives you some illustration of this polarization in terms of politics.
Pradeep, aside from the issues of discrimination and minorities in India, will Mr. Modi perhaps be emboldened by a win, emboldened enough to consider a revision of electoral boundaries as well to favor more of the North?
Well, redistribution of electoral boundaries is apparently planned to happen anyway. I mean, Election Commission already has plans, but whether BJP will benefit from that, I think they will, because northern India's population has grown in terms of the distribution of population between the north and the south. The northern states, the poorer states, have faster population growth, so they are likely to get more seats in the Lok Sabha, in the lower house of India's parliament, than the southern states. So they could be, when those boundaries are redrawn, they could be an advantage for the BJP.
All right, Pradeep, thank you very much for your time and your expertise this morning. We've been speaking with Pradeep Taneja, a senior lecturer in Asian studies at the University of Melbourne.